Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. This is Shifting Lanes Garage, your weekly show about mostly cars. We have some pretty interesting topics for you tonight. My name's Chad. With me, as always, is Greg. How you doing, Greg?
I am doing wonderful now that work is done for the day. And wonderful because we have some pretty fantastic automotive news to lead off the stream today
Yes.
that will no doubt put the fizz into everyone that loves the manual transmission.
Yes. Absolutely.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Getting over allergies, cold, combination thereof. God only knows what.
Yep.
Last week.
Tis the season.
Oh, God. Last week was kind of sucked. So.
Yeah, I'm with you there. One of my kids is sick, and it's gonna be that season of, oh, great, time to get sick every other week now. Cool, can't wait.
Yeah, so yeah, fall. I haven't actually. It's actually been a while since allergies smoked me this bad. Like, I've been. It's actually
Yeah,
been pretty good. Like all throughout, like COVID, I'd maybe get like a sniffle because like working in the my old job and I worked with the public basically. Like, if you coughed, they're like urgent care now.
yeah,
Go
100%.
get a test. It's like
Yeah,
ah. But I was lucky with that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's
yeah,
still feel it a little bit. So,
yeah.
but
Well, let's talk cars and forget about all that crap.
yes, let's. So to anyone who knows us, knows or is a car enthusiast on the whole, knows that we as a group prefer manual gearboxes. Literally every single vehicle I've ever owned in my entire life has been a manual, unlike Greg.
Yes, that's true. I prefer manuals. Until we hit like a certain horsepower, really, then they kind of just become
So
unnecessary.
340 all-wheel drive horsepower.
No, no. I'm talking basically like what you're almost at now with the Mustang. I feel like I don't know. You can drive a fast car slow with a manual, and it'll still be engaging and fun. But like once you get over the like 1,000 horsepower threshold, it's just like I mean, who cares? Like get a second car with a manual that's like 400 horsepower to have fun on the twisties and go nuts with your 1,000 horsepower with sequential or what's the one for dragging the glide,
Oh,
what's the
power
glide
glide.
one? Power glide, yeah, or just put a power glide in it. You have 1,000 horsepower. We all know what you're doing. You don't need a manual transmission.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like
drag racing transmissions are just strong. Uh, they're just strong automatics.
right, exactly.
So it's actually kind of funny because we missed last week. I wanted to bring up manual transmissions because the boss of M over at BMW, Frank Van Meel, said, and I quote, "The manual is slower and results in higher fuel consumption, and sometimes also has a lower top speed. So the manual actually, from an engineering standpoint, made no real sense anymore, completely missing the point. The ultimate driving machine, not the ultimate performance machine, the ultimate driving machine was like, yeah, we don't want the manual anymore. It is slow, it burns fuel, and we gear it to lose drag races. Because that's actually one of the funniest things about manuals versus automatics is automatics are technically faster now, but that's because most of your big performance automatics have more gearing, so they have shorter gear ratios. They obviously shift faster, so you can be in peak power more of the time. But that's not the point, right? We've said here,
Right.
every single person who watches our stuff, watches our streams, will sit here and tell you that it's about the feel, it's about It's not about the result, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? It's not that
Right.
it's the whole reason why I want to get into the tens with my Mustang. It is because if I had the 10 speed in there, I'd be in the tens. It just
Right.
would just
100%. Because it's point. It's like
it's
my car. It's point and shoot.
it's basically a really good video game at that point.
Right.
But and like not for nothing, any idiot with money can make a car go fast. It's another thing
Yeah.
to say I have the money to make my car powerful, and I have the skill to make it go fast. Like,
Yeah.
and then from a purely like back road perspective, back roads you're not really going crazy stupid fast. I mean, you shouldn't be, but
Right.
you are going quick, and it's that changing of gears, that engagement, that you're doing more stuff, right? Like you're in control of more, but you're actively doing more. So so
Right.
everything is amplified. The speed is amplified. The uh, cornering for the forces feel amplified because it's not just I have to turn into this corner, apply the brake here. It's I got to turn into this corner, apply the brake, downshift one or two gears, come out, let the clutch off with the power down in such a fashion that I don't roast the tires coming out of it. It's not all computer controlled. So for the boss of M to be sitting here saying that because it doesn't make sense from an engineering perspective and therefore isn't I'm not these aren't his words, this is me kind of trying to glean some insight into what he was trying to say, to sit here and tell us that like no, you should like the automatic because it's faster, more efficient, and you can have a higher top speed. Well, wildly misses the point, and it's why basically apart from the M2, the old one, not the current one, that was the last BMW to have a decent manual. From all accounts, everyone who's driven the new M3 with the manual that was an afterthought says it's pretty bad. Not from like a reliability standpoint,
Yeah.
but from like a gearing standpoint, from an engagement standpoint, from a feel standpoint, it just doesn't feel right. Which, again, the ultimate driving machine, it kind of misses the boat. So
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the deal with BMW now. The biggest thing with BMW is they are no longer an enthusiast car brand. And everyone can say till they're blue in the face that they still have the M division and yada yada yada. They still make, sports cars and supercars and whatever you want to call them. They are no longer an enthusiasts company. They just aren't. They are a lifestyle company masquerading as a car company. And they have proven that over the last 5 years with their design language, with how they treat everything on social media, and with how they are operating as a brand. Now, I don't think that that will last forever, but right now, BMW is more interested in selling cars than making something that's going to drive appropriately. And that is a pretty strong stance. However, it's true. It's really true. You see it, and you can see it in how they are doing everything these days. And for the head of the M division to say that manuals are no longer, part of the plan, essentially, it doesn't surprise me at all. Does that make me, disappointed and a little angry? Sure, yeah, it does. As an enthusiast, I think that that's something we need to continue having. But am I surprised by it? No, because the head of the M division knows that in 5 to 10 years' time, every M car is going to be electric or a hybrid variant with no manual transmission. So he's trying to already sow the seeds of doubt with the manual to be like, oh, we don't need this. And your point, Chad, it's no longer the ultimate driving machine. They're going toward the ultimate performance machine, which it also isn't, because there are other companies and other cars that are much better than the BMW M cars right now. So for me, I don't find this as a very surprising detail that it's happening, but I'm hugely disappointed that that's what's going on here. Now, the other side of this is there are other companies that make manuals still, and it's just it's they seem to have a better grasp on what enthusiasts want. But bottom line, enthusiasts don't sell cars. And that's what BMW and the rest of these companies are trying to
See,
do, and no one wants to buy a manual,
see, you say,
supposedly.
you say that. Um, I'm gonna make. I'm
Which is
gonna.
what that's what I'm teeing up the
You're
next part of
absolutely
this.
teeing the next part of it, which I'll touch on in a second. But we do have some activity in chat. I kind of wanted to kind of touch on before we get into the this week's portion of why Gregson is wrong. Brought to you by Auto Tempest. No, I'm just kidding. Auto Tempest, if you're watching, which you're probably not, sponsor a segment. We're good people.
Please sponsor.
We have.
Oh, really quick, actually, before you go into that, Doug made a really good point that I wanted to touch on that I forgot to mention is they don't understand why we like them. And I think that that's a huge point that you also touched on, Chad, is most car companies they have absolutely zero touch with enthusiasts.
Right.
For the most part, and manuals like we were saying, no one buys a manual just to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make 1,000 horsepower and have a manual 1,000 horsepower car. Cool if you do that, but the whole point of a manual is to be engaging and to have all four of your limbs, you know, working in unison to make the car do what you want. Clutch pedal, gas, brake, shifting with the left hand, driving or shifting with the right hand, driving with the left hand, or vice versa. If you're in a company or in a country that has shifting with the left hand,
Good catch.
Either way,
Good catch.
sorry, I don't know if my right from that.
This is how Greg drives a manual.
Either way, is the manual is for an engaging driving experience. Period. It's not for performance anymore, and it hasn't been for probably over a decade, quite frankly, in many applications. So yes, it is definitely more of an engagement thing, and it's something that people want when they really do want it, as opposed to we have to have it just because they're making manuals.
Right. And like, here's the thing. BMW should know better simply because one of their fellow German companies felt the sting of the lack of a manual option in Porsche when they did the 991.2 GT3, and they only had enough money, and they had to use the motorsport transmission because that was the fastest transmission, and it happened to be the dual clutch. And all of their buyers revolted, and then they made the mistake again of saying, okay, well, here's the 911R. It's a manual. We're only going to sell, I think, 500 of them. Offered all 500 to 918 buyers. They all said, yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they literally made as many as they could until the machines that were designed to, like the tools that were designed to make the parts, wore out.
Yeah.
And then now Porsche has two lines of the GT division. They have the GT Touring, which I wish they came up with a better name for, but that's stuff where engagement is key. So you get the engine, you get the suspension, you get all that, but it's got a manual. And then you have the other side of it, which is out and out performance. And it's like I said, BMW didn't need to leave the country to figure that out. So anyway, just real quick, just catching up with you guys. Steven puts it great. He goes, you can have it any way you want as long as it's the way we make it, the German way. Absolutely. Nate over in YouTube, what's going on? Howdy, gents. Bring back 3 pedals. Hell yeah.
Yes. What's up, Nate? What's up, everyone?
Justin, thank you for the 100 stars. To make up for your lack of attendance lately. We appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, dude, as always.
He's been traveling everywhere for work, coming at you currently from West Virginia. We're glad to have you, brother. Doug goes, regular BMW used to be fun. Fact, you didn't have to get an M. That's the other thing with M. M has become less about motorsport and more about ways of squeezing more money out of their regular models via the M Sport badge, right? So why engineer a whole new car with a different engine and suspension tune when you can just put slightly stiffer springs in it, give it an appearance package that costs you, the manufacturer, less, and charge people more because it's got a fancy badge on it. We see this in every manufacturer. Everybody does it. I'm not singling, but like BMW has become more about the M Sport badge for their the M division as opposed to M cars. So,
Yep.
Doug,
100%.
that there's, and then all right, we're back to Doug's content, but that's kind of all a very high-winded, long-winded way of sitting here to tee up, and this is where you're wrong, is that in 2021, less than 1.09%, according to JD Power, 0.09, so less than 1% of all cars were manual. In 2022, it went up to 1.2%, and this year it is up to 1.7%. So that is trending in a direction where manual sales are going up. And I like to think that we have a couple more offerings of cars, sports cars with manuals. The Nissan Z Supra came out with a manual. I saw pricing on the new Nismo, which is beyond dumb, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, but the Nismo doesn't have a manual.
No, the Nismo doesn't have a manual, but why it's dumb is that it puts it like in the same ballpark / maybe a little bit higher than like the 6-cylinder Supra, at which point it's a vastly inferior car.
Right.
So I would still have the Nissan because I think it looks better. But at any rate, and then to kind of piggyback on it, CarMax is seeing a rise from 2.4% all the way up to 2.9% in 2022. So, is this huge market share? No. Has it pretty much doubled in 3 years? Yes. And I think, again, that goes back to if you make a decent manual, enthusiasts will buy it. I don't think... Look, for my money, this number could get even bigger if the car companies came together and said, hey, look, we all use the same basic 8-speed automatic transmission. There's like 3 globally. We all use one of them. Let's come together, have a joint manual that we can all put in our cars. And then therefore the cost of development it's like when you see Ford and Chevy come together to build an automatic transmission for their pickup trucks, their best-selling, the Silverado and F-150s, when you see them come together to do that, come on. You can't tell me that Ford and Toyota can't come together and be like, all right, here's a manual we're developing. It's going to be good for the Mustang. It's going to be good for the Supra. Like, it's that. But sales, again, sales are up, which is cause for celebration because hopefully some nitwit who thinks manuals are inferior engineeringly and people don't buy them. Why should we make them? This is why.
Right. I'm wondering, so I love this news because the percent and the market share is going up, obviously. But I have a couple of questions, and I really need to look into like the actual numbers behind this because one, Ward's Auto is a good journal, but they have gotten a lot of numbers wrong over the years, especially in their engines department for things. However, most of this is, I mean, the CarMax thing was for Ward's Auto. JD Power is JD Power. They have to report what the numbers are exactly, or else they lose government funding. So, the whole thing with this is I'm very curious to see the actual total sales numbers because percentages are really lovely to look at, especially when they go up, but it's all percentages based on total sales of things, whether that be crossovers or sedans or sports cars. Market share is, again, percentages can tell a good story, but they don't tell the whole story. So I'm going to take this with a little bit of grain of salt until I dive deeper into the numbers, just because I haven't looked at them. But I'm just looking at the article over here to the left. That's why I'm not making direct eye contact. And I don't see any like hard numbers in here. It's just the percentages. So we could see a doubling of percentages with an overall decrease in sales. That happens because since the pandemic, since the slowdown of cars being built, you could see a lessening of total cars sold. And those manual transmission cars may have already either been there or just were a better option for people that weren't necessarily shopping for them in the first place. So I'm interested to see how these percentages line up to total sales. And I really hope it's not just because of that, because people are starting to revolt against EVs and automatics and CVTs and yada, yada, yada. I really hope it's more of that frame of thought as opposed to what I'm being skeptical about. So we'll see. Are these numbers promising? Yes. Yes, they are. Well, here's the thing about being a buzzkill is because of my day job, which is like a medical copywriter, my brain just works this way about like, oh, cool, percentages are great, but what are the hard numbers behind it? Because we can't say things without like the actual hard data behind it. You can say like, oh, 30% reduction in death, but what were those numbers? Was it actual people in the clinical trial, or was it people distilled down into a certain arm of the clinical trial? So like, I love that the numbers, the percentages are there, but I really want to see like the actual hard numbers and why. Because if the numbers are there, then this is a bigger deal than we think, honestly, because it is saying that the consumer is starting to revolt against what's going on. And that's a big deal.
Well, right. I mean, well, let's kind of put it let's kind of put it into perspective, right? If they're going to sit here and tell us one thing, and then the data shows something else, obviously, now is one person, like, let's just say hypothetically speaking, it was directly comparable car sale numbers, right, from year 1 to year 3, right? Like car sale numbers were within an insignificant percentage of each other as far as the total. 1%, actually in this case about 1.6%. What is that, is that enough to move, say, obviously a lot of this stuff is enthusiast driven, so you have to go to like enthusiast marks. As much as it pains me to say this, a company like Volvo just isn't an enthusiast company anymore. They just aren't. They don't make really, they make cars that have our design and all this other sort of stuff. But like at the end of the day, you get in and you drive them, and it's not an enthusiast's car. It's a fun car, but there's so many other options before you get to them, and they know that.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing with this is that is this trend something? Is this something that manufacturers are going to look at and say, okay, how do we do this? Because let's face it, right? Like a company like Ford, they offer a car with a manual. It's called the Mustang, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They're
That
not.
was going to be my next point. Is they got to make them to sell them, and they're not making them.
Well, it's not even they got to make them to sell them. It's they have to have an offering that manual makes sense to put in to make it, right? If
well, that's what I mean. Like they have
the
to
rest
make
of
manual
Ford,
transmissions like work.
right? It's not like Ford's going to be like, all right, we have one car and it's got a manual. All right, manual sales are up. I got it. Let's put it in an Escape. Nobody's going to buy that. Like,
Right.
It's just, your Hondas and Toyotas that still sell small cars. Well, okay, that kind of makes a little more sense to have some manual options in there. One of the interesting things about the article I did note is that a lot of it is parents buying manuals for their kids as a first or second car, because to drive the car you cannot be distracted. Well, you can, trust me, you can, but
It's a less likelihood.
but it's kind of hard to text when you're shifting and steering and clutching and accelerating or braking or what have you.
Correct.
Which I found pretty dang interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the message to the auto manufacturers: if you want to save the children, just sell more manuals. Because
And,
not
you
for
know,
nothing,
there's a bunch.
not for nothing, I guess you can get the EcoBoost, but like if you get a GT5, if you get a Mustang GT, which they're up to like 460, 480 horsepower now.
Yep.
That's a little too much horsepower to be throwing at a new driver. Just saying.
I mean, you're not wrong. That is a correct statement.
You know,
But it's interesting. We have this meme also of millennial anti-theft device, and it's just a picture of a manual transmission, and it's been around for a couple of years now. But that's also not wrong either. Most people don't know how to drive a manual, and if you give someone a manual and some thieves come by, very small percent chance that your car actually gets stolen, considering how many people are in this country and how many thefts happen. But you know, thieves come up to your car, they see a manual transmission, they're probably going to go find another one because it's not as easy as they think. Plus, they probably can't drive it.
well, right. I mean, security system. Excuse me. There's so much that goes into that. Like an automatic, you can have a shift lock. It
Yeah.
can be locked in park unless you have the physical key.
Right. Correct.
A manual, you can't. But then again, you have to know how to drive it to drive. Like, you can't steal. It's like, all right, let's just, like, not for nothing. I would love, this might be something worth looking into, but I would love to go to like my old high school and be like, look, I need you, if you like, I'm sure there's some form, like, I want all your kids in a defensive driving course, kids who have their license and have had it for a little bit of time. Present them my car and be like, start it.
Right.
Not even drive the thing, just start it.
Right.
Because it's still
Most of them won't know you have to push the clutch in.
right. That actually would make for some pretty hilarious content. Except there's
It would be a
probably
great
someone
short.
like kid who's like, spends half his day at Motec building like, he's going to be the next generation hot rodder. He's like, oh, that's sweet. Bye. Like,
Yep. Just as a burnout.
so look, I think any way you slice it, whether it be are more manuals total being sold or versus the number of total cars sold, like whatever you want to cut it, the ratio, the bottom line is that twice as, one out of every 50 people basically now, that's still depressing to say, are likely to buy a manual. And honestly, it's, again, the manual will never come back to such a prevalence to where, like, the mom doing the grocery run in her station wagon has a stick shift, right? Like, our family car when I was a kid was a 5-speed Isuzu Trooper. Like, it was a manual,
Yeah. That's a cool car.
And my dad's car was, well, he had a Legacy wagon, then a VW Fox, and a couple. But like a lot of the time, both our cars at one time when I was a kid were manuals. Those days are done.
Yeah.
Like those days are done.
Yeah.
But if I can sit here and see, the younger generation, again, according to this report, CarMax says that a lot of the people buying these manuals are people in their 20s. So generationally, we're seeing a little more interest in it. My hope is that it's like, wait a minute, manual sales are up. We offer this sports thing, sports car, hot hatch, sports wagon, even though that's something that really probably will never gain too much traction in this country because we suck.
Agree.
It's, but again, if you could sit here and say, man, we should look into making we should put manual in our quote unquote fun cars, and again, if you take that and then people combine that with the fact that if you have a front wheel drive car that can make anywhere from 150 to 300 horsepower, everybody gets together and builds a gearbox that can happen with that. And now all you have to do is adapt it.
Mm-hmm.
You spread the cost.
They already do. It's called a CD009, and it goes in absolutely everything.
Right, but it only ever came in Nissan products.
I know.
But no, I'm even talking like a front-wheel drive kind of plug-and-play transmission, right?
Sure.
Because, like, not for nothing, well, Subaru doesn't like the STI anyway, but, like, cars like that should have manuals.
Yeah. Doug, great comment. Sometimes I wonder why I joined the U.S. Army to support a nation that doesn't love manuals. I agree. communist propaganda. This is bullshit. I agree.
I would probably make the argument that it's gonna sound unpatriotic, but I would probably make the well. All right, if you boiled it down strictly, but like I would make a bet that like the average more Russians per like the percentage of Russians who know how to drive a stick shift versus the percentage of Americans is significantly higher. I would say the
yes.
percentage of communist countries or former communist countries of people who know how to drive manuals exceeds that of the Western world, but manuals are still
100%.
pretty prevalent in like
It's
Europe. But then again, we're
due
huge.
to car. It's due to car age, though. I mean, the average car age here is young compared to the rest of the world. The rest of the world has a lot more older cars that are on the road than the U.S. does, for sure. Because most of the U.S. and that's not even down to the enthusiasts. Most of the U.S. are consumers that don't care about manuals, but they also are consumers that don't care about cars. A lot of them lease. A lot of them think when a car hits 75,000 miles, it's junk now, or 100,000 miles, oh, it's life is over. I mean, most cars nowadays, if you treat them well, will go well into the 200,000 mile range. But people in the U.S. have a very consumerism mentality. They buy a car, they have it for 5 or 6 years, they get another one. You know, in a country like Russia, where you have, I think Doug just mentioned it, Lada. I mean, you buy one of those if you're lucky to have a car in Russia, and you keep that on the road by any means necessary.
Right. Well,
I totally agree with that. I think that's 100%.
That's
correct.
also because your government can't afford to feed you. But
well, that again, another part of the equation, yes. But it was that's interesting. So Doug, another one. When I was in Iraq, they told me that complimenting locals for their old cars might be insulting, as they didn't have a car culture like us, and an old car was viewed as a bad thing. So there you go. There's another part of it. It's like most of the other parts, or not most of, but some other parts of the world can't afford new cars, and they're forced to then keep older cars on the road because they can't afford that. So there you go. But it is interesting. It is a very interesting thing. One thing I did want to make mention is you mentioned your cars growing up. Two of my cars were my mom's, and they were both BMWs. She had two in the course of 25 years, and they were both manuals. One was a 3 Series from like 1983 or something, 1980, maybe 87. And then she also had a 525i 5-speed manual from 1992 and had that up until 2008. And then she went automatic, and she was pissed about it because they didn't make any cars in manual that she wanted. So there you go. And those are the cars I grew up with. My dad had the automatics. He had the SUV because he was the one that was like, oh, we're gonna do road trips and stuff, and we did. But he always had like the Ford Explorer or whatever, and the ones that we got never had a manual. So my mom's car was the one that had the manual transmission in it growing up, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, your dad also had the Corvette that he never drove.
Also an actual fact, and that to this day was not cool, man. Not cool.
Yeah, so I think to kind of wrap this up and then get to Gregson's transition piece, manual sales. Look, any way you slice it, the thing with statistics, right, is any statistics class at least I ever sat in with college and stuff, or statistics are a great thing. However, statistics can be made to say anything you want. You could take manual car sales up and twist it in like you tried to because overall car sales are down. That's an example. That's not exactly what Greg said or whatever. You could sit here and say, there's actually a funny joke. What is it? Oh, you can twist statistics any way you want, right? Like on average, 44% of all marriages end in divorce. Right? It's like, that's not a great really ratio, blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side, you could sit here and say 56% of marriages end in death.
Right. And so that's exactly what I was talking about with the whole medical thing. It's, you have here's a great way to look at it in that same respect as a joke. You have a medication that says, oh, well, a 30% reduction in the risk of death. Well, 30% reduced death sounds good, but 70% increased chance of survival sounds a whole hell of a lot better.
Right.
So it is that skewing of the percentages and how you say things. You're saying the same thing, but in different ways that makes people think differently and want to actually buy your product or do this, that, and the other thing, whatever you're doing with the marketing of it. So it is an interesting thing. I do still want to look at the numbers behind it.
Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, for us as enthusiasts to get sort of the vehicles we want with the equipment that we want, we need someone who is we need someone in the we need someone who is the head of BMW M who has stops being German for 5 seconds and looks at what, like, one of the running jokes every year is when Mercedes launches a new trim or new model of G-Wagon, when engineeringly speaking, as far as like just the vehicle itself, it hasn't changed since like the 70s. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's obviously gotten some updates and stuff, but it's like a lot like the Jeep in that respect. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, people keep buying it, and like literally some of the executives in Mercedes can't, but it doesn't have any technological innovations. What the? I don't get it.
Who cares?
And then again, we just, in order for these numbers to mean anything, we have to get people have to understand us, have to be in there like saying, hey, we've designed a small, fun car. It's not going to break any lap records, but it's going to be a hoot to drive on the back roads. A, how do we market that? And B, we should put a manual in it, because basically the people who are going to care about that stuff care about having a manual. It'd be like if all of a sudden the Miata comes out and it's like, look, the fastest shifting automatic transmission ever to be fitted in a 2-seat convertible or some shit. Won't matter.
Correct. No one will care.
So
No one that wants to buy that car will care.
So here's hoping that this is starting the conversation and we can start to see fun cars. My focus was a hell of a lot of fun to drive, and it didn't have a shit ton of horsepower for most of its life.
Right.
It's because it was
You
engaging.
don't have to have a lot of horsepower with a manual because it's engaging and fun.
Yeah. So, now next up on the docket is I think we're gonna do a little, depending on how this goes, might be a little or a long little quiz time with Gregson.
Ooh, I like quizzes.
And I won't.
Hit me with the quiz.
And it kind of goes along with what we're saying. It's car sales, but it's not based by transmission.
Ooh, nice transition. Transmission transition.
Transmission transition right into your transitional TED talk.
That's right.
But so when I get back, we're gonna see just how well Greg knows car sales.
Ooh, interesting. I like that. So what we're going to talk about until Chad gets back is the car behind me, because why not? It is my V60 Polestar. There's nothing really new with it. The end. Cool. Good talk. See you out there. There's not a lot going on with it right now, just because we did the dyno video. If you haven't checked that out, go to our channel, Shifting Lanes Garage, and look at that. What else is new with it? Nothing really, quite frankly. I like that the caption of Buzz Killington the Third is still there, and that I prefer automatics, neither of which are true. There's nothing really new with this car, honestly. We have the drag strip video, which will be coming out this week. And Chad, the legend that he is, will also be he'll be editing that for me, and then we'll get it out later this week, like Thursday or Friday. So that'll be coming out very soon. The next thing with this car, I'm not entirely sure right now. Budget is just, one, not there, and two, I have two other projects that unfortunately are going to meet their demise very soon. The blue 240 wagon is not going to happen. I don't have the budget for that. Just going to sell that as a project car, hopefully out west. Someone will pick it up. And the green project car also will not be happening either. Don't have the budget for that. Going to end up selling both of them. But once those sell, maybe I'll have enough budget for something else. I don't know. The rest of this year is kind of a wash in that respect, to see what 2024 brings. The biggest focus I have is getting my wife through grad school, quite frankly, and that is going to happen next spring. So she'll be graduated in May, which will be great. This is her last horrible semester as far as like classes and work is concerned. So come January, it'll be a little bit easier to figure out what we can do. We also have to do water mitigation in our basement, which is super fun. Yay, home ownership. And that's going to cost like $7-8 grand. So that's part of the reason why I need to sell these projects is there's water coming in our basement and we need that money to do that. So yeah, cool. Great. Either way, we still got this thing, which is cool. I think what I'm going to do next with this car is just some aesthetics stuff. I still have to get the carbon fiber side skirts put on. I have those in the basement. Probably going to get those put on over the winter. I got to get new winter tires. Excuse me, man. Exhausted. Get new winter tires, and I'm probably going to powder coat the wheels just because why not? I can, and I'm probably going to do white just because why not? It angers people, and I like the look of white wheels. So I'll probably do that. Probably do tire letters again because, again, it angers people, and I think they look cool, and that's great. The other side of that is more aesthetics stuff. So what I really want to do is roll the fenders on this thing, get the wheels and tires pushed out a little bit more because you can't really see it, but this wheel gap here, the rear wheel gap in this car is atrocious. It is tucked in so far, and it just looks ugly in some angles. So want to get this thing better stanced, better looking. Maybe put some, maybe do one sort of enthusiast mod, which is some new piping, maybe an intercooler, just because as we saw in the dyno, the temperatures in the P3 Volvos in this thing, they get stupid high. So an intercooler, some new piping for better breathing will help that a lot. And once that's done, it's probably going to be it for this car, and then save up for a new project is my guess. We also have to save up for a new car for my wife. We're probably going to end up getting one of two Hyundais in the new year, either a Palisade or that new Santa Fe that came out, because she's in love with it. I love the looks, and it's just a cool car. Great looking. So we'll have to see what that brings. So that might be another added expense next year. So lots of stuff happening that could be interesting in 2024. But as far as project cars are concerned, those are going to be put on the back burner for a little while. So we'll see. Bill, oh man, I'm not going to pronounce your last name correctly, Bill. I'm sorry. Rodabaugh or Rodabow. You asked why to what exactly? Why the Hyundais? If that's the question, because they have a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and even if they're piles of trash, we will still be able to get cars from the dealer free of charge in case our car breaks down. So it's just a good deal. There is no other car company on planet Earth that has a warranty like that, and it's not even close. The best warranty outside of Hyundai's is like 6 years, 50,000 miles, which is like half the mileage and 4 years shorter, which is absurd. So quite frankly, having a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty as a backup is pretty nice. That's just something that is very attractive to us because we have 2 young kids. We don't have a lot of extra budget. We don't have a lot of time to deal with broken down cars. And if we can get a loaner from the dealer, if ours does, then that's great. We don't have to have a lot of downtime. Chad, just give your budget to me. 705 wheel horsepower, carbon fiber, Lark liveried Mustang. Yes, I would love to do that. But I need to transport children's to things. So no. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. What I'd really love to do is keep this car as long as forever. Honestly, I really love it. And then just hopefully in 2024, get more budget for more cars. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but hopefully we'll see. It depends on all those factors. Plus, it depends on if I get promoted at work, get a raise, shifting lanes takes off a little more. If investments pay off, so it's all kind of a crapshoot, honestly. The biggest thing is with shifting lanes, I talk about this a lot because I'm really transparent with it, but Chad Hansen and I, we take the shifting lanes thing and we split it 3 ways, and we use that money to bring more content to you. So like we started this stream, Hansen only OEM stuff. We started the second channel to do more project cars, and now it's more of the it's more of the oh man, lost my train of thought because I looked over at what Chad said. Keep the Volvo, I keep the aforementioned Mustang. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Totally lost it. But oh yeah, with the money. So now it's more of like how can shifting lanes continue this like upward swing and bringing in a little bit more money with all of the short form stuff that we're doing on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube Shorts and TikTok. So like we're growing pretty rapidly in all of those areas. Facebook, we have grown over 100,000 followers in the last 2 years. Anthony, thank you for the 100 stars, and Moist, hate you face. Not actually, just for that word. But Facebook, we've grown. Instagram has been going nuts for us, which is crazy. That was a place where we could get zero traction, like literally no traction over God, how many years he's been on Instagram. And since April of this year, we've gotten, I think, over like we're at 25,000 followers on Instagram, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for the longest time we were at like 8,000 followers. And then all of a sudden, once we started to do the short form stuff and put it on there, it exploded since April. I think since April, we've gotten like 17,000 followers, which is crazy, which is awesome. And we're seeing really nice growth on there. We also are seeing good growth on TikTok. We're over 7,000 followers on there. And then YouTube, both of those are growing. So like, if this keeps going in this direction and short form continues to be like the main thing, we can hopefully get more budget to do more fun projects in the future. And, it might not be this year, it might not be early next year, but maybe like later next year into 2025, we could really start to put a huge focus on project cars and doing more with the channel and doing like more consistent stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Doug, Moist Motorsports used to sell stickers. I already bought one, but would buy more. But would buy more if you sold them. We know I have more cars to put them on. Yes. So anyway, the whole rant for that is the more you guys watch, and there's not a lot of you guys that are watching on stream right now, but those of you that are here watching, thank you, and thank you for your support and being subscribers to us and donating stars to us. Like all that like goes back into doing these things and using that budget for more things. So like all that budget kind of like sits to the side and we save it up to try to like do fun things with cars, which is cool. I've just had to dip into my like shifting lanes savings for personal reasons recently, just because there's so much stuff going on with the house and like kids and stuff. So hopefully in the next year, I will be able to get a second car that I can actually make more content with. What that is, I don't know. But in the short term, I got to make sure my basement doesn't flood. So that's kind of a more important thing than a second project car at this point. Chad, where are you? I'm running out of things to say.
Listen, just get a fucking sump pump. Call it a day.
Well, that's the thing. Like we need it. We need a sump pump, but to actually put one in is going to be around $7,000-8,000 because the way my house is in the basement. The basement is right up against my backyard, obviously, and all the dirt. So just how any foundation would be. But the problem is there's a ton of runoff that goes right towards my house because my whole lawn is sloped towards my house. So all of the runoff goes directly towards my house and then out the side towards the easement and towards like my neighbor's house and like down into the street. So all this water just comes straight at the house and it just goes into my basement. I've been down there with a broom pushing it into the gap between the floating slab and the wall, like with a big like floor broom. So not ideal to have that much water being like coming into your house. So we need to do the drill holes in the wall. We need the moisture wicking water mitigation. We need to jackhammer the floor. We need to put the rock substrate down and then put the sump on the other side of that. It's a lot of work, honestly. And like so that's where like the $7,000-8,000 needs to happen. Is that's going to come from those two cars basically being sold.
I have an auger, a loose understanding of electrical work. I could bang it out for $1,000.
None of this sounds good.
I've already talked to your wife. She's on board.
Gonna have a talk with the wife then, because no, I appreciate the offer, but no. And, I like Doug's solution: solve the runoff problem, French drain to your neighbors. Do like.
I mean,
But anyway, now that Chad is back,
you forget that the house I grew up in, like you completely forget that we had
yes,
a house that
I do because I don't remember it at all.
you forget that we had pretty severe flooding issues at that house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know.
So we actually, I mean, don't get me wrong, we already had the pits in, but we were on the side of a hill, a side of a mountain. So like your backyard, I mean,
Yeah.
okay, but like for Greg's benefit, this is right. My property butted up against Schooley's Mountain, so like the park, if that makes.
Yeah.
So that's the size of the hill,
Yeah.
and the
A
landscaping,
couple 100 foot
and then the
tall
landscaping had retaining walls, which were necessary, but no drainage in them. So you had the footprint of the house hitting the water, and the water had to divert. But then it had probably that width again of a retaining wall that was I don't want to say funneling, but moving water back towards the basement and stuff. But I mean, I understand it sucks. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
All that other sort of stuff. I would. So like,
Now it's your turn, sir. I will be right back. Please be
wait,
entertaining.
don't move just yet. Don't move.
Oh no. Okay.
Just sit tight for 1 second.
Oh no. What are we doing?
Nothing. Don't worry. God, you're such a.
We're making another shirt about my basement flooding.
Well, some would make the. Okay, I'm just gonna say this once. Some would make the argument that your basement is moist.
Ah.
But
And now I gotta leave.
yeah. There we go. Let's see here. Doug has an extra sump pump if you need it. Moist basement problems.
uh, moisture wicking.
By the way, Doug, your sticker's up.
Oh God. Yep, and that's my cue. Goodbye.
We're just gonna leave these up here with no Greg, just the talking T-shirt and sticker. Alrighty, chat. Let's see here. Doug, like I said, I just posted a link for the stickers. XC70 just sitting over at your place. Trained to the neighbors, 100%. All right. I guess since Greg kind of went over his car, now, yeah, well, I'll put it to you this way. I don't know how much he touched on, but like, I was trying to listen. But I honestly, selling the 240s, well, sucks. Like, because that, especially the one out in Oregon, that was going to be a cool little car. Just from our conversations, it could lead to something significantly more fun. As far as vehicle, and I'm not trying to dunk on the what you call it, the Volvos and stuff, but like, it would be kind of fun to have a playmate to do road trips with like the Mustang and stuff. Just the Polestar's great and all, but it's a fun car. It's not a sports car, if that makes any sense. So just based on some of the conversations we had, that could be really, really exciting. And not for nothing, pretty dang cool, and some stuff that the internet doesn't really see a lot of, if that makes sense. As far as the Mustang is concerned, hold on. As far as my car is concerned, it's up, it's running. I swear it's running smoother than it did prior to cutting the hole in the hood. That could just be a placebo effect. It could be that it's actually running a lot better. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but yeah, it's running better. We're getting some decent, well, I shouldn't say decent weather. We're getting some okay weather, to where, hopefully within the next couple weeks here, we can get back to the track. We could get back to, and like finally actually like give it a proper test, because like the what the heck? Anywho, why can't I edit that? That's weird. To finally give it like a proper test, because like, let's face it, it's been too long, and that car is built for a purpose, and the fact that I can't really drag race it, or I couldn't drag race it confidently, was kind of a bummer. And I kind of want to, I have 705 horsepower. I have a twin disc Serra metallic clutch in it. I have a lightened flywheel. I have a built trans, carbon fiber drive shaft. I have, Greg, do me a favor and just tilt your camera so that your top of your head's a little more towards the top of the screen. Thank you. All right, fine.
On the Skype preview, it's just
fine. Proceed.
No, I'm good, because it's just, I'm centered. We're fine.
But I have all those parts. I have all those parts on my car. I want to use them for the sole purpose of why I put them on. Like, I basically made the car. Don't get me wrong. With the new tires, it's so much fun around corners, because it's crazy how much more grip they have. Like, I wouldn't think that you could get that much more grip going from like an R compound to an R. Those tires are no joke. They're impressive. So I'm really looking forward to that. I personally can't wait to get back to the track. That's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. Because again, it's why I built the Mustang. Where did I put this stuff?
Is it trivia time yet? I want to do it. Let's go.
All right. No, I want to basically I want to have another embarrassing Greg sticker up here. And then we'll remove them as you get answers correct.
Oh no, I hate this already.
But I can't find the third one. So did I put that over here? Nope. All right. Anywho. All right. So car sales.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll go into that because that seems to be the topic du jour tonight. I wanted to get more of your lovely face in frame. So
No, I appreciate that.
we all know that what I found it like number one, like some of these are interesting. Some of these are like to be expected. Like you would expect like a half ton pickup truck to be the best selling vehicle in Alaska, right?
Right.
So we'll start this off with Doug, thank you for purchasing the Moist Motorsports sticker. Moisture makes it happen. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yes. Both thank you and no thank you. On my end.
Yeah, I love you, Doug, despite what Captain Buzz Killington III over there says. But so I'm going to run through a few that I found interesting.
This is best-selling
First.
vehicles by state, correct?
So we'll start at the top of the list, and Chad, feel free to chime in. Greg, if I see you look down, I'm just gonna duplicate the stickers that are already up on your face cam.
What do you mean look down? Like on my phone?
Like on your phone, or like you're looking at your monitor, or that, like, no cheating.
Oh, I have nothing up. There's nothing on my phone right now. I will put it over to the
Put
left.
it on the roof.
So if you see me look that way, but I also have nothing on my computer screen other than the back end of this stream. So there is no looking up of this. I'm going for just pure glory. I don't want any cheats here.
Alrighty, so we'll start right at the beginning. Gregson Mate, what is the best-selling car in Alabama?
In Alabama? So, you're doing an alphabetical. Okay. Ford F-150.
Wrong. Strike one.
Well, shit. Chevy Silverado.
Nope. Hint, you're not even in the right vehicle category.
Ooh, interesting. Not even in the right vehicle category. So it's not a truck?
It is not a truck.
Really? That is very surprising.
This is one of the most surprising.
Alabama. Man. So best-selling cars in the country. Toyota Corolla?
No, but you're getting warmer.
Honda Civic.
Getting colder.
Oh, Toyota Camry.
Correct. Making up a...
Wow, that is baffling to me.
Yes, Toyota Camrys make up 5.4% of new vehicles sold in Alabama.
Wow, that's shocking. I'm very surprised. I mean, I'm not horribly surprised because Camry is a great selling vehicle, but where that state is located makes that vehicle very surprising.
Well, you would think more of the, we'll just say, average resident, and go from there.
Right. I mean, most of the South, I would imagine it would be half tons of some kind. But interesting. Let's keep going.
All right. this one. So we talked about Alaska. So Alaska, the Ram 1500 makes up 7% of all vehicles sold, new vehicles sold
Right.
in Alaska.
Right.
Arizona, go.
Arizona desert. Just every state guess F-150, and then you're bound to get half of them right.
You would think. I mean, this time your thinking is somewhat correct.
I would probably say Ford Ranger.
Getting slightly less correct.
Okay. So F-150 is
Not it.
Slightly more correct than Ranger. Yes. Let's go Ram 1500
That
again.
is correct, but only 3.1%.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of diversity in Arizona.
Interesting. Okay.
So to piggyback, Doug said that people in Alabama are too bored to buy new trucks. One might think the same for Arkansas.
Arkansas. I love Arkansas just because the name is ridiculous. Arkansas. Who? Toyota Camry.
Wrong.
Ford F-150.
Slightly less wrong. But I'm only going to give you two guesses on this one.
Okay.
And if you get it wrong, one of the stickers gets bigger.
Crap. All right. Silverado.
Incorrect.
Okay. Interesting. Ram 1500?
Incorrect. So you were extremely close with your Silverado, but it's the other GM full-size pickup truck. The Sierra.
Is it the Sierra? Ah, shit.
So there you go.
I always forget GMC exists. I don't know why, but I always do.
Alrighty.
Oh no, I don't like how big that's gotten.
I'll take things
like
Greg has
doubled
never
in
heard from a
size.
woman for 1,000, Alex. Yes.
Oh man, and thanks for watching the stream. I'm leaving now.
Yes. Come for the cars, stay for the sophomore humor.
Oh man. All right.
So this one,
keep going.
This one kind of fits with the state, but now we're on California.
Prius.
Wrong. Right idea. Wrong
Tesla.
Platform. You're
Tesla Model S.
More wrong.
Oh. More wrong?
So if a hybrid was wrong and an EV was more wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What engine?
What's that?
So the hint is if hybrid was wrong and EV was wrong, more wrong, what is an EV eliminate versus a hybrid?
Electric.
Internal combustion.
Right.
The number one selling car is mostly internal combustion. It does have hybrid variants, but it is not
mostly internal.
Oh,
RAV4?
Too large. And the company's wrong.
Man.
Too large. Let's just say in the late 90s and early 2000s, this vehicle was a part of a lot of like high-end electronics heists.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, honestly.
That's not based in the real world. I thought you would get the movie reference, but...
Oh, Honda Civic.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, makes sense now.
Oh, shit. This is...
Man. Interesting.
But it makes sense.
I thought you were talking about like catalytic converter heists of like thieves actually taking the electronics out of cars. I'm like, oh, that doesn't help me.
No, but
at
have you
all.
ever gone back?
Have
you ever gone back and looked at what they were stealing and like felt like crazy, stupid, old?
Yes.
It's like DVD players and like 15-inch TVs with the VCR built in.
Yep. I'm like, oh my god, no one would ever buy that now.
Yeah. So Civics. So it doesn't give
they make them.
So it doesn't give a specific submodel. That's why I said hybrids are part of it. But
got it.
3.9% of new cars sold in California. All right.
Okay.
Colorado. This should be the easiest one you've had so far.
The Chevy Colorado.
No. I'm
I
going
was
to give you
hoping
two.
for
You should get
the
you based on all the other ones so far. You should get this in 2 guesses.
Ford F-150.
Correct, sir. 4.1%.
There we go. Outstanding.
All right. Jumping across coasts to Connecticut.
Ooh, Connecticut. I'm gonna go with Subaru Outback.
Way too. They're not quite that New England yet.
Oh, okay. I think that's the number one for Maine, as far as I remember. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Honda CRV.
That is correct, sir. 3.2%.
I think we need to reduce that size of that sticker now. I did get 2 in a row.
We'll make it a little bit smaller. Oh shoot! I actually made it smaller when you got the other one correct, but never actually. So there we go.
Yes.
And I think to streamline things along, I'm going to give you an initial guess and a hint, and then from there you have 3 guesses to get it.
No, I say if I don't get it in the first 2, just tell me,
Gotcha.
because that'll make it quicker.
Alrighty. And as everybody knows who spends time with Greg, quicker is better.
Yeah, accurate.
All right, so on to Florida.
Florida. Ooh, Jeep Wrangler?
No. Definitely.
Because they do love their big mudding trucks down there. I thought Wrangler would be sort of at the top of the
They
list.
also love big Cadillacs, but
Well, true.
this one kind of fits more within the national average as far as vehicles, but not as southern as you're thinking.
Interesting. Oh man. All right. I mean, just play the odds. F-150.
It's not a truck. So,
Not a truck.
so the other thing that we buy way too many of.
So it's a crossover. Cool. RAV4?
That is correct, sir. 3.3%.
Yes.
Go ahead and decrease that. Alrighty. Georgia.
Ford F-150.
Correct.
Yeah. Your poker face on that was god awful because you knew what was gonna happen.
This
It's funny.
there. We'll see. Hawaii.
Oh man, I don't even know. Good
Stop looking
question. I'm not. I'm really thinking. I'm looking at my keyboard.
down. I just got a text from Kate. He has a second computer.
My phone's over here. Remember?
I know.
It's not. Oh man, Hawaii. Toyota Corolla.
Not. No. Like opposite end of the spectrum. Almost
Opposite
complete
end
opposite
of the
spectrum.
spectrum. Honda Accord.
You're thinking too small.
Ford F-150.
All right, you're getting warmer. You're in the right ballpark, but not that
Ow.
large.
That's so random. Ford Ranger.
No, and you have one more guess.
Toyota Tacoma.
So close, but no. It is the Nissan Frontier.
Oh man, really?
Yeah,
That's
that would
super
shock the
random.
hell out of me.
That's probably more surprising than the Camry being Alabama's number one.
Yes. and
Oh man, that's fascinating.
and from Potato Land, 6.7% of the state's new car sales is this.
Ford F-150.
That is correct.
I was gonna say I should just make that my first guess. I'll probably get at least 20% of them right.
Ooh. Illinois. Not an F-150.
Illinois. Camry.
No, not a sedan.
Not a sedan. Uh, Screw it. Ford F-150.
Not a truck.
Not a. Whoa. Oh, okay. RAV4.
Incorrect. One more guess.
CRV.
Wrong. What is your wife? What is one of the cars your wife wants to get?
Oh, Hyundai. Hyundai Palisade
Nope.
or Hyundai Santa Fe.
Oh shoot! It's the other one, the Tucson.
Oh, oh, the Tucson. I do. I love a good Tucson.
But here's the crazy thing. So like,
Hanson's car.
yeah, which is more depressing than your automatic. And it only makes up. It's the best-selling car in Illinois, but only 2.5% share.
Oh wow. So lots of automotive diversity there.
All right, on Indiana.
Oh, Indiana. Okay. Home of the Indianapolis 500. Lots of car enthusiasts there. Definitely the Chevy Corvette. No. But I will say Chevy Silverado though.
It's actually correct.
Yeah, first shot. Let's
It's
go.
like, it's like which full-size pickup truck is it? 3.2% there.
Nice. Let's go. I like that one.
Alrighty. So, Iowa, Kansas, and Louisiana. Go.
Ford F-150.
Yes. Kentucky. I should be keeping. I should have little. I should have little F1.
Yes.
I should have little F-150s that I'm adding to count how many states it's the F-150.
It's so great. Oh man, we're up to at least 10 states now. I'd
Yeah, I should
imagine.
have been keeping track. That'd have been funnier. So while you're thinking about Kentucky, Doug says, "I wonder if these best-selling being sedans, because there are few sedans to pick from, so those outsell the CUV versions who have more competition." It's possible, but as you're seeing, as you're starting
that's
to
an
see
interesting
more and
point.
more, it's really a lot of it is like a 2-horse race between some form of pickup truck and some form of fucking crossover.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering that I'm just trying to play odds here. Like, which half ton, and then which crossover? Am I guessing here? There are some outliers. Terry, that's a hell of a question, my friend. Can I fill my gas tank with malt liquor for extra power? No, but you can fill yourself with malt liquor for extra power on a Saturday
As long as you're
night.
not driving. Also, keep in
Correct.
mind if you have 80, what is it? 80 proof is the percentage doubled or something like that, or double the proof.
Yeah, it's the alcohol content proof is doubled, so 40% is
So
80
like,
proof.
let's just say hypothetically speaking, you get like 120 proof. That's only 60% alcohol. The rest is something else. It'll actually create significantly less horsepower.
Yes, very true, very true.
Alrighty. Kentucky.
Well, since the Bowling Green plant is there, I'm gonna guess Silverado
Wrong.
again.
I knew that was going to be your first guess.
Yeah, because you knew about that. I was like, I wonder because of the Bowling Green plant. Kentucky Ford F-150.
No.
No. RAV4.
Getting colder.
Colder. Shiitake. Ram
Correct.
1500. There we go. Okay, back to trucks. It's gonna be some form of stupid truck. God damn it.
Maine.
Maine. Subaru Outback. Damn it. Subaru Forester.
Wrong.
Damn it.
Last guess.
Toyota RAV4.
Wrong. It's the F-150.
What? Seriously? In
Yes,
Maine?
it's 6%.
Oh, man. Get that shit off my face. Get out of here.
Alrighty. And very much not an F-150. We have Maryland.
Maryland. So, and you said not an F-150? That's my hint. Okay. CRV.
Correct.
Yeah, shrink that shit.
Yeah, so it is would also be interesting to go through these and track by like blue state, red state, because I'm pretty sure every single red state has been a full size pickup.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
With the
yeah.
exception of like
So,
Alabama.
it sounds very much like that.
So moving on, we have Massachusetts.
Oh, massive two shits. Terry, thank you for the 100 stars, man. Appreciate it, brother. Let's see. Massachusetts. I'll go Corolla.
No. I was trying to think of a hint that wouldn't give it away, but
F-150.
getting colder.
I don't know.
RAV4.
RAV4?
I
Interesting.
jumped the gun so you won't get penalty. Michigan.
Michigan. Ooh. All-wheel drive. Needed for that snow. Or it could just be an F-150.
It is not an F-150.
And
And also, within this game, the answer is almost always F-150, not Miata. Just saying.
yeah, the answer is always F-150. 1500.
There's three possible options there, Greg.
Ram 1500.
Correct, sir.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Ford
Correct,
F-150.
Mississippi.
Ford
Correct.
F-150.
Missouri.
Ford
Wrong.
F-150. Oh, Ram 1500.
Wrong. We only get one guess.
Chevy Silverado.
Correct. Montana.
Yeah. This is just so funny. Montana, Ford F-150.
Correct.
Oh my god.
Doug is actually starting to pick up what I put down. He goes, Massachusetts equals blue state. Come on.
Yeah. I know.
We did Nebraska.
Montana was the last one. Nebraska. Red State. Ford F-150.
Correct. Nevada.
Nevada. Is Nevada a red state? I don't remember. I want to say yes, but I can't remember. Let's just go Silverado.
Wrong.
Ram
Correct.
1500. There we go.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Oh, Subaru Outback.
Very wrong.
Very wrong. Okay, damn it. I was hoping one of these New England states would be the
I don't think
Outback.
any of them.
So I keep trying to
Any
guess.
of them are. I think
Damn
at one
it.
point they were, but
Yeah, I remember Maine used to be on an old one of these I saw like a couple of years ago. The Outback was the biggest. New Hampshire. Let's go RAV4.
wrong.
CRV.
Nope.
Camry.
You're in the right family, just not at the right.
Corolla.
Nope. One more guess, and that's being generous. Yes.
Tacoma. Oh, interesting.
All right, this one you should get. I'm only giving you one guess.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey.
Oh, that's the CRV because I know it.
That's correct.
The only reason I know it is because Kate had one, and the salesman that there said, "Yeah, it's been like the best-selling car in New Jersey for the last like decade." Like, yeah, okay.
New Mexico.
Tacoma.
Wrong.
Silverado.
Wrong.
Ram 1500.
Nope.
Ford F-150.
Yes.
Yeah. This is gonna be the last one.
New York.
Oh man. So New York's a huge state, but all I can think about is New York City and how many fucking Camrys I see there. So I'm gonna just say Camry.
Wrong.
RAV4,
Closer.
CRV.
Correct.
There we go.
Huh. North Kakalaki, aka North Carolina.
I'm gonna say, what on earth state is
You haven't
that?
heard it called North Kakalaki?
North Carolina. No, I've never heard that actually. I'm gonna totally screw myself out of a guess here, only because they have a plant there now. But some form of Volvo, the S60.
No.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
didn't think so.
it's better than your that was better than your default guess, but not close. That makes sense.
It was better than an F-150 guess,
Correct.
but also not close. Okay. RAV4.
Closer but wrong.
Tacoma.
Getting more wrong.
Okay. CRV.
Nope. You're getting
All right,
even
I'm
more
out of
wrong.
guesses.
And you're wrong. It's the Toyota Camry.
I'm out. It is the Camry. Okay, interesting.
Alrighty.
Oh no, it's in the middle of me now.
North
The answer over here.
Dakota.
North Dakota, F-150.
Yes.
Good, shrink it.
Ohio. The picture they have for this is definitely not in Ohio. That's the hilarious part. You can't see it, but
Oh,
it's
man.
hysterical. It looks like it was taken in the Rocky Mountains.
Amazing. Ohio. Weird. RAV4?
Incorrect, sir.
Camry.
More incorrect.
More incorrect. Oh man. Truck. Ford F-150?
Incorrect.
Last one. Ram 1500.
You got it.
Oh man. I wouldn't think Ohio would be a half ton. That's interesting.
But like, this is the picture that they included for Ohio.
Yeah, that's not Ohio, literally at all. I mean, the Appalachians are sort of touching Ohio, but
No, they're just big. They're
No.
just big fans of fierce nuts and/or berries. Seriously, Buckeye is a nut.
Buckeye. Yeah,
So stupid. Oklahoma.
correct. Oklahoma, F-150.
Yes. Huh. Or Oregon.
Oregon. Oh, that's maybe another Subaru Outback guess.
You'd be wrong. I have a feeling that a lot of these states that have this car as their bestseller kind of sort of were Outback fans at one point.
RAV4,
Better, not quite. You're thinking too small.
CRV. Oh, too small. Too small.
All right.
Were Outback fans at one point?
Right. I noticed one other state. At least one other state you guessed. This was the number one.
Oh, the Tucson.
That is incorrect. It's not a crossover.
Oh. Man, those clues are stumping me then. That's interesting. Man, I don't know. Forerunner? I'm trying to think, like, what's a step up from the Outback?
So it's not a step up from the Outback. It just seems like the states that you thought this truck was, like where you guessed Outback, like New Hampshire, a couple others, the Taco.
Oh, okay. I can see that. I can see it. Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Oh man. Fucking anything. I've seen every vehicle 20 million fold in that freaking state. Let's just say F-150.
Not a full size.
Not a full size. Okay. So Tacoma?
Not a quarter ton.
RAV4?
Getting closer.
CRV.
Yes. So apparently the
There
tri-state
we
area
go.
loves them some CRV.
I was gonna say, yeah. Honda's got a strong footprint in the tri-state.
I'm going to tell you this right now. You're not going to guess Rhode Island. Not even a little bit.
Rhode Island. Tesla Model 3.
Not that obscure.
Okay.
But it's like,
Um.
it's along the same veins as a lot of other states, but not that class.
Nissan Rogue.
Not a Rogue.
Hmm. Man. Jeep Cherokee.
Closer, I would say not as off-road capable.
Ooh. Closer, but so sort of crossovery, but Forester?
Highlander.
What? That's so random.
That's what I'm saying.
Highlander sells, but it does not sell that much.
No.
Interesting. Huh.
So you know what? Let's do
Very interesting.
go a little collage. There we go.
Yeah, Steve. Steve, we touched on that about New Jersey being the number one for CRV. Yeah, New Jersey's top like couple of vehicles are a CRV and then something else. Oh God, I gotta sit up.
South Carolina.
F-150.
No.
Damn it. 1500 Ram.
Very no.
Chevy Silverado.
No.
Toyota Camry.
Warmer.
Honda Accord.
Colder.
Damn it. Toyota Corolla.
Colder.
I'm out of
It's
guesses.
not a sedan.
Taco.
It's not a pickup truck. You've guessed this before.
CRV.
Very close.
RAV4.
Correct. Alrighty. Just for the sake of speed, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah.
F-150.
Correct.
Yeah. I was waiting for
Oh,
Texas.
okay.
Like, I know this one. I have to know this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Steve, Vermont.
Steve.
Let me put it. Well, I'm just commenting to Steve over in chat, but Vermont.
CRV.
No, but it is a crossover.
Jeep Cherokee.
Crossover. Well, I guess the new Cherokee's a crossover.
The new Cherokee's a crossover.
Fuck you, Jeep.
Why
Not
said
domestic.
it. Ooh. Vermont. Crossover. Not domestic. RAV4.
Wrong, even though it is slightly owned by Toyota.
Oh. Subaru Outback.
Wrong.
Subaru Forester.
Again, wrong.
God damn it. Subaru Crosstrek?
Yes.
It is the Crosstrek. Steve got it. Nice. Wow, the Crosstrek? That thing's a big pile of shit. No one should ever buy those.
Um,
Oh, God, no.
Virginia, not only for lovers, but also they buy the crap out of this vehicle. This bucks the political trend I mentioned earlier.
Not CRV, RAV4.
Oh, you're wrong.
CRV.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Yay!
Alrighty. Washington.
Washington. Oh, that's another funky one. Mm, I'll just go with Camry.
Nope.
RAV4.
Nope.
CRV.
No, this one has been in a couple of the states. I didn't realize this many states bought this in such volume.
Tacoma?
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a bunch more states getting a Tacoma than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
I only thought it would be like 2 or 3.
And not for nothing, whatever version of taco that is, I want it.
Ooh, that is...
It's got to be some form of TRD.
That's the 20. It says what? It's 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Isn't that the redesign that's coming out?
I mean, it might be. It looks like they just pilfered all this off the press sites. So,
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's absolutely either a render or a press photo of some kind.
alrighty, down the home stretch,
Yes.
West Virginia.
Ford F-150.
No.
Ram 1500.
Also no.
Chevy Silverado.
Also yes.
Nailed it.
Wisconsin.
Ooh, Ford F-150.
Yes. And lastly, the great state of Wyoming.
Wyoming. Ford F-150.
Yes.
Yes. At least they finished out strong.
Yeah, because 1, 2. I'm actually going to count.
Yeah, I want to know how many states had the F-150. My guess is it's going to
3,
be
4,
20
5,
plus.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Oh my god.
19, 20. Yeah, 20. So literally 40% of the states
20, yeah,
in
there
the
you go.
United States.
I mean, and again, going back to like our earlier conversation about like numbers, I wonder how many people are actually buying those as commuter cars versus fleet sales, because we know that the F-150 has such strong fleet sales with like farms and contractors and construction sites and yada yada yada. Like I really and also rentals too. Like I wonder how strong that factors into it, because the states that I would imagine the F-150 being a part of, like they make sense. Like Texas, well, freaking duh. Like, but some of the other ones are also obvious. But I wonder if it has to do with fleet sales, or if I wonder if it has to do with just people being in those states and half tons just being like the way of life.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
Steve asked, what state has the most tundras? I don't actually know off the top of my head, but my guess would say Texas.
Yeah, Toyota's got a big plant there now.
That would be why.
And
Because like at any
Yeah,
given
and
moment,
tundras-
they probably have several thousand tundras just sitting.
yeah, Tundras don't sell nearly as well as the Tacoma does because of the big three, the Silverado, the F-150, and the Ram 1500. They have such a stranglehold on that particular part of the market that anyone trying to make a half ton or trying to sell a half ton, they don't make much headway. Even with the new redesigned Tundra, it's pretty sweet, but it doesn't come with a V8. And those that want that truck are probably going to end up wanting one that comes with a V8 of
Which
some
is
kind.
becoming rare. On
It is, yes, but I mean, either way, you're not making a ton of headway. But in the quarter ton, that's a much more competitive
well,
segment.
not for nothing. Toyota's
Tacoma
been there
being, I
for
think, the
forever,
number one, but
right?
right, right,
Look, there was an F-150 when Marty McFly went back in time. There was no
yeah,
Tundra,
right,
and
exactly.
like Toyota did a good job in the '80s of like marketing the taco and everything. Anyway, Terry has an interesting comment. We need more motorcycles on the road. Almost every car I see has one human in it anymore. Yeah, but that's sadly never going to happen. I mean, just look at it, right? Like, there used to be a lot more small cars. People didn't feel safe. They got SUVs.
Yeah, it's about safety. It has nothing to do with what people want there. It's people want to feel safe, and people don't feel safe in motorcycles. Period.
Yeah. Steve goes, Nissan and Toyota trucks are the most American being built in Texas. Toyota, yes. I think Ford is second, if memory serves. I did research on this a
Yeah,
while ago. Either way, but you're right. Like, Toyota, down to the componentry. Like, I'm talking like fuel, like stuff that's ubiquitous, right? Like a power steering pump or like an AC condenser, an alternator, like down to the switch gear. I forget what the number is, but it's something almost like, if you consider, it's like 90% of the truck is built in the United States.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But Greg, real quick.
I'll be right back.
All right, hold that thought, chat. I'm just gonna show blank screen to Greg for a moment.
Be right back.
Sorry. Wish I had control over Greg's camera and we could just like pan and follow him and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, chat. My allergies are actually starting to smoke me again. Oh, it's like looking over here like Greg's back somehow. Like you can see my setup at all. Let's move more frame here. Alrighty. Actually, you know what? I forget who mentioned it, but we've been talking a lot lately about the mini trucks, specifically like the. Let's see here. All right. About the Maverick lately. Um, I like Steve, that there's a link. Let's see if I actually still have it saved. There we go. There's a sticker for you. Doug has one. Let's see here. Let's go back here. So we've been talking about it, and oh gosh, I forget so much about this article. But here's the, excuse me, here's the Maverick, and it's got a 2.3 out of the bigger Ranger in it. He got the This guy got the 2.3. Turns out it's pretty plug and play. It's actually very plug and play. 99% of the plugs, as you see here, were identical. So, like, literally the engines, you could just plug them up to each other. And that the only thing you have to kind of make special... gosh almighty. You have to, is the coolant temperature sensor. And then he simply restarted the CAN bus and it cleared all of the codes. Which is packaged slightly different than the Corsairs, but it's cheaper and more widely available. Its intake charge flows through 2.5-inch piping, custom front mount intercooler. It has a tune on it because why wouldn't it? And he's running the 12s with it. So, like, that's pretty impressive. Let me see here. EcoBoost too. It turns out his Ranger Fit basically plug and play operators. Happenstance he was shopping for the spare stocks. He threw an offer on a Lincoln Corsair. Had to surprise. and to his surprise, won it. First team to use this engine developed parts, but that day came. Driveline was mostly disappointing. He never been a time. So it doesn't say. It pretty much doesn't actually say if the transmission. I'm assuming it's stock. I mean, I'm assuming because it was so plug and play and the wiring harnesses are so very similar and all this other sort of stuff, that the transmission is almost identical. That would be my guess. But it looks like this guy's trying to find out what the limits of that transmission is. And it looks like he's doing it the tried and true way of build it, race it, break it, fix it, race it, break it, fix it. So, no, Steve. What I mean is that since the 2-liter fit right where the 2.3-liter was, and all of the connecting points are, what I would think on this is the fact that the bolt pattern for like the bell housing and stuff like that fits. So the engine just sort of plops in. I wouldn't be shocked if it's the identical block, just different bore and stroke to make it 2.3 liters. So like I could see literally everything being the same except for like you're tuning things like a manifold, maybe the valves are different. Like maybe the head's a little bit different, but I would wager to guess the short block is almost identical. Obviously, again, bore, stroke, however they got the extra displacement. But it's interesting because we've been talking about, yeah, I mean, if you look at this, they look very, very similar. But
high engines.
Yeah, but we've been talking about it for a while. The mini truck stuff is that this. So to catch you up, Greg.
Yes.
This is a Maverick with a Ranger 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder in it that runs 12.4s. It has some minor piping like intercooling and a tune and stuff.
Really now?
But apparently this is pretty damn close to a plug and play OEM swap.
That's crazy to do a quick swap, but an OEM swap and to be able to run 12s in a truck. That's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that engine puts out 275 horsepower from factory. And
man, 270 from factory?
Yeah, I can't figure out. Guys, I'm just going. 2 liter. So it's making about 20 more horsepower than the 2 liter. So my guess would be here. My guess here would be that the 2 liter is actually the one to have.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is that Focus RS driveline swap might not be as crazy as it sounds. That might be interesting. That, honestly, Greg, if I'm being all honest, dude, that's what 2024's project should be for you, is a Maverick.
A Maverick with a Focus RS driveline and a Ranger engine swap?
No, I meant the full-fledged like Focus RS engine, turbo, transmission, center diff.
Oh, I'd be down. That'd be very cool.
Obviously, that's probably close to 50K in parts, maybe. But I honestly,
right,
not for nothing, a Maverick build for you would be actually kind of interesting. You could slide it by the wife as like, look, I got a small pickup. It's going to be utilitarian. It's going to be great for everything. Bam, 11s.
Yeah, but also how long would that build take for someone to actually do it? Like, I know it's plug and play, but as we know, projects take a while. It's like, oh, by the way, I bought this pickup truck and bam, it hasn't been around for 2 years.
I'm sure Jeff and Jesse could figure it out. I mean, knowing them, like, you'd come back and it would be rear-wheel drive only, slammed to the ground, and have a coyote sticking out of it. So it's like, hey, remember when your truck was good in the snow?
Yeah, that's fine. That truck could be great in the snow. It just needs snow tires.
All right, I've
Studded snow
got to get
tires.
this. Like my allergies are smoking me right now. I will be right back.
Cool. Yeah, go for it. Um, I guess I don't know. We'll talk about the mini truck stuff because I've actually been kicking around the idea of, and this is by no means, I love that my stickers are still up there. This is by no means set in stone or anything, but like, so I talked about my wife needing a new car. She has a 2017 Volvo XC90. For those that are watching that don't know, that's what we have right now. It's honestly been a great car. It's been very reliable. We've had now three things go wrong with it outside of routine maintenance. And I know exactly what they are. One is a bad O2 sensor that happened 3 or 4 years ago. One was a bad steering angle sensor that happened 2 years ago. And the other one just happened a month or two ago, which was a bad starter. And that was it. And outside of routine maintenance, that car has been dead reliable. So modern Volvos get a bad rap for being unreliable. Again, I'm an N of one, so take it with a grain of salt. But my experience with the modern Volvos has been really good. Routine maintenance, some brake jobs here and there, and a couple of things out of pocket. Really, pretty damn good. The thing is, that's now out of warranty, and that car is expensive to maintain should other things start failing. So that's why we want to kind of go with something that needs a warranty. Hyundai Palisade, Hyundai Santa Fe, the new one that came out, looks really cool. That aside, I've also been kicking around the idea of this car. I love it. I don't want to get rid of it, but if I sold this car, I'd likely get between $35,000 and $40,000 for it, just because of how rare it is, just because of its stature in the Volvo community. And I would imagine I could find a buyer between $35,000 and $40,000 for it, especially because of the rarity, and especially because the 2-liter versions of this are having a couple of issues with the supercharger, from what I've been reading. So with that said, this engine is very, very bulletproof, quite frankly. It's a Ford built motor designed by Volvo. It's an inline 6, and from everything I've read, the engine is just fantastic and bulletproof if you don't go crazy modding it. It's the same engine that Volvo got 500 horsepower out of for the prototype of the S60 when they brought this out. Either way, this car could probably fetch about that price. If I sold this and basically used that money to get my wife's car, that would leave me with the XC90. And then we'd have to come up with maybe $10,000 or whatever to get the cost between what this could sell for and then my wife's new car. So let's just put that as like, sell this, get my wife's new car. Let's just say that's free and clear, whatever. That would leave me with an XC90 as a potential daily. Or I could sell that and get a different daily and then also get something on the side. So what I was thinking potentially is if we do that, and again, this is a total hypothetical. If we did that, what I would like to do, and Terry, really interesting you mentioned that, was I was going to go down a path of an old Lexus sedan, get like a mid-2000s LS, because you get the V8, and I think it was Speed Academy, and Chad can correct me when he gets back. I think it's Speed Academy. They did a really sick build on a Lexus LS. I want to say it was 2004 or 2006 or something. But it was basically just lowered with like an Edelbrock supercharger on it and suspension goodies, little OEM body kit, new wheels, and it looked utterly fantastic, like so cool. But having something like that as a daily, because you can find them for $10,000 or $15,000. It's a Lexus, so it's going to be dead reliable. And for my car, I'm literally for my daily, I'm just shuttling kids to school. And really, that's kind of it, like doing around town errands. I don't have a commute. I work from home. So I don't really have a lot of things. Yeah, Chad mentioned it in chat just now. Low boost supercharger on a 3UZ, I believe. Yeah, yes. And I'm not sure what year of the LS they changed the engine. I forget which, but the one that they had was awesome, and it looked sick by the time they were done. So I'm really interested in something like that potentially. Then that would leave me with about $5,000 maybe left over. I have some money saved up outside of the other two Volvo projects that I have to sell to pay for the basement water mitigation that I already mentioned about. On top of that, I have about $10,000 saved up for a sports car on the side. And that sort of continues to accumulate through saving money, through making money, through shifting lanes. So at that point, I'd probably have about between $10,000 and $15,000 to spend on a sports car or some sort of fun car, right? So my wife's car would potentially be free and clear, or we would utilize the money from her job to pay off a very small car loan, which to me, in that sense, is out of sight, out of mind. I'd have a reliable daily that could look really cool, be slammed to the ground, and be very just a cruiser, right? But also still be an enthusiast cruiser because it looks the part. It's just a cool thing. Then you have this $10,000 to $15,000 thing to put into a sports car. Now, I think that would be really cool to do if I could pull it off, is have that Lexus LS and then maybe get, like, I don't know, an F-Type with a loan from what's that loan company? Actually, I have it on my phone. It's like Woodward or Woodcrest. Hang on, I can tell you exactly what it is. It is, where is it? Woodside Credit. So basically, it's like a mortgage for your car. So depending on the loan, they do like long-term loans at like a little bit higher percentage than like the national average. So their calculators say, if you put in, say, $50,000 loan, your monthly payment would be $606, but that's on 120 months, and it's with 15% down. So 15% down on a $50,000 car loan, I believe, is like $9,000. 50,000 times 0.15. Oop, wrong number. 0.15. There we go. 7,500 actually. Right? Is that right? Times 0.115. So 7,500. So I'd have enough for a down payment on that car essentially, and I would have money left over to be able to either pay off the loan months in hand, essentially, because $10,000 to $15,000, or I would have some money left over for some, like, basically aesthetic mods. So like maybe a rear wing, front lip, whatever. The other side of that is, so that's one scenario, potentially doing that. The other scenario is my wife then sells the XC90, trades it in on a new Santa Fe or whatever. We have a larger car loan on that. Then I could keep this and buy something like an 850R wagon or something and have two really cool hot Volvos. Or the other thing is I could sell this, get a 4Runner or a Tacoma, still could shuttle the kids around in their car seats and whatever, and then have the same scenario where I have the $10,000 saved up to get another sports car as well as a Tacoma or a 4Runner or something cool. So I don't know. I really think 2024 is going to be that turning point for like what cars are happening here in my family, especially once we get the basement figured out and my wife graduates grad school. It's sort of like, it's not game on. Like, we could buy whatever we want. Obviously, we still have a budget and we still have young kids that a lot of money goes towards like their things. But it's going to be interesting to see how our garage shapes out in the next 1 to 2 years based on what we're doing. So whole reason for that conversation was the Maverick, which we just talked about. The Maverick is interesting because it's a really cool mini truck. And if you looked at what they did with SEMA over the last 2 years, there's a lot of cool things you can do to that. And that's sort of another really unexplored content creation thing, because there's not a lot of content around Mavericks and modifying them or any small mini truck like that. Like the Hyundai Santa Cruz, very small market share, but there's almost nobody driving them, which is interesting because no one's really making content on them. So you would have the market basically on that. which is sort of like what we did when we had the V70R. Back when I had that, like no one was making content around that car, and Volvo is a very fever pitch community of when a cool Volvo comes out, the community kind of like is like, ooh, let's go watch that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like what we could do in the next year, especially again if more people watch our stuff. If more people watch the videos and the short form stuff that we're doing, then we have more budget to do things. So we'll see. I think it will be really fun to see how that shapes out in the next year or two. And I gotta go check a kid. Speaking of children, so he doesn't pee himself. I will be back again.
So I was kind of listening on Greg's musings there. Look, I have car ADD. I'm constantly looking for the next car, even if I haven't finished the current car that I want to finish. We'll get to there. But look, the LS 430s are great vehicles. The 3UZ in those are good engines, not the most mod friendly engines. Doug, Steve, Terry, like all you guys, Anthony, Justin, Christian, like all you guys who watch these streams, send stars and stuff like that. You're doing enough. Like, we love that. Like, Doug, I love that you're trying to help out with that stuff. I words can't describe it and stuff. Like, you guys do plenty. As much like when Greg sits here and says like, if more people watch our stuff, it's not necessarily if you guys go and like feverishly watch all of our stuff the second it comes out. Blah 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 blah. We're talking on a scale of hundreds to thousands more. Why this stupid thing keeps doing this? But it's so like. But here's the upshot to it. We are gaining traction, like we talked about earlier. Instagram is blowing up, and Instagram is finally starting to get around to paying creators and things of that nature, and everything. So, oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. There we go. So we all have big plans. Like, I would love to see Greg get an LS430. The 3UZ engine is a great little engine. Again, it's not a modders engine. The build he was referencing from Speed Academy, they put I think it's 4 or 5. It's like somewhere between 4 and 6 PSI of boost. It's not a lot of boost at all. The 3UZs, they got displacement by increasing bore. So that decreased cylinder wall thickness. So there's a limitation there. But that said, with some tasteful mods and stuff, you could get that thing making decent power. And they're a very smooth engine. Those cars slammed. I mean, I wouldn't put a crazy exhaust on it just because it's the nature of the car. For me, the louder your exhaust, the performance should kind of match given the car segment. So the Mustang, pretty dang loud, but I got 700 horsepower backing it up. So to me, it's justified. If you have a car that's more of a cruiser and it has a crazy stupid exhaust, it doesn't really make as much sense to me. For me, it's all about suspension. And more specifically, because I've gone down the daily driven exotics rabbit hole. And for me, I would love to get the body work done on the Mustang and get a livery on it. Specifically, like I mentioned earlier, the Lark livery. That looks incredibly awesome. They've made it so that color, that sort of like deep, dark, pinkish, purplish orangish, you can get in a wrap now. But I would love to finish the body mods, mostly because like my front bumper, the car was obviously in an accident at some point, and my front bumper is sort of, it's put there in a permanent yet semi-permanent fashion, meaning that to take it off, you have to break what's holding the bumper on. Um, but I would love to get through the body mods. I would love to get through that. Get the wing on the car because I love my wheels. Even though I might go to a slightly different wheel, especially if we go to a different color palette. But get that car, because once it's at that point, to be perfectly honest, the only things left would be coilovers and eventually I would love to do the GT350 brake setup on it. It already is massively impressive braking wise. This is sort of a performance mod that fulfills a vanity or a OCD thing with me, meaning that like the rear brakes on the Mustang GT have been the same rear brakes for 20 to 30 years. A lot of it has to do with it that they work pretty dang well, but it's also so you could fit a smaller wheel on it to go drag racing. Seeing as how drag racing's not really my priority with the car, it just happens to be the easiest form of motorsport we can do. I would love to get a set of, I think they're 14.5-inch rotors from the 350 on the back there, just to fill the wheel out a little more. And then if I'm going to do that, might as well put the 15.5-inch 350s, just because, again, Shelby parts, even though the front brakes are off the previous generation GT500. I understand I'm sort of rambling, but long story short there is that there's not a lot to do to the Mustang left. It's just exceedingly expensive no matter what I do. Like the body kit in and of itself is probably going to be $10K. You're probably looking at another $10K to paint it. Then you're looking at another $2 to $4K for like a wing, and then you're probably looking at another $4 to $8K depending on who does it to wrap it. So, Steve, thank you so much for the 100 stars, man. Appreciate you wanting to see
and
us,
Doug.
See us get bigger. Doug sends 100. I clicked the short. Okay, I did read that comment. But yeah, so future. It all boils down to that if we are trending in a good direction, if some things fall our way, if we get some more viewership on any of our content, specifically some of like maybe our long form stuff, where just the ad rates are just more
better.
They're just more favorable. But I mean, YouTube as a whole is weird with how they're paying creators now. Not that we're complaining, don't get that wrong. But so like all of your content has to do well, like our short form, our long form, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys for literally, if you want to support the channel, don't send stars, don't do anything. Just go find our YouTube videos. If you like watching us ramble on about random ass car topics, you're gonna enjoy our long form content. It's just, I can't speak for Greg, but the stuff I've been with him when he's filming and stuff, we're the same people on that camera. It's just more of it's edited. That's it.
It's more. It's just more polished.
It's just more polished. Like go and you guys watch me every week, and I kind of bust chops and everything like that. Well, if you go watch the dyno video, the literally third sentence out of my mouth is I'm busting chops. Like,
yeah.
So that's it. And the short
and share those things. Like you say, Doug, you said you click the like button. We have a big enough following that one like won't matter as much, but a share does, because you have a bunch of friends that might like the content too. So like sharing it is actually more for those of you guys that do watch, sharing is more important for us. Because our following is large enough that we'll always get likes on stuff from people, and that's a good signal to the algorithms to like push it to larger audiences. But trying to get like grassroots people sharing things and being like, hey, check these guys out, to get more like followers that are like you guys, that always come back and watch the streams, that always either donate or like our stuff. Like that's the way to do it. So just continue to share our stuff, word of mouth. That's the biggest help to us for sure. So we appreciate you guys more than you know in that respect, because it keeps us so motivated to like keep making cool stuff for you.
Yeah, it's when we see a video go nuts, like we're not, let me put it this way, like part of the excitement is to watch a video go nuts and be like, it's not about the money, because one video going nuts is not, like, I think we had a video go pretty crazy over on Instagram, and it was like $25 for like 1.2 million views. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And every platform pays differently. Like,
you know,
the lion's share of our short form stuff comes from Facebook, but that's because Facebook is has a bigger budget to work with to pay creators than Instagram does. That's not to say like as we grow on Instagram, if we get larger, it might become more. But yeah, like I had one that went nutty, and Chad had one that went nutty, and Hanson also too, since they started paying us for short form stuff. But all of those, at the most we got out of all those, I think it was like $27, and they were all over 1 million views. So that just goes to show you, like, if you go, and 1 million views is basically like viral, essentially. Anything over 1 million views is viral in that sense. So 1 million views on Facebook would have been a lot more than it would have been on Instagram. So
right, but
it depends on the platform.
To my point, and I think we'll kind of wrap it up here, just because this is not cooperating.
Sorry, man.
But when we watch a video do that, it's not about, for me at least, it's not about the money. It's like, holy shit, I'm making something that resonates. If I can continue to do this, the combination and the knock-on effect of it, the financial side of it will come. It's just I never thought I'd sit around and figure out, like, oh, wow. Oh, this video only got 5,000, or this short only got 5,000 views. Right? Like, I never thought I'd be in a spot to be like, holy shit, 1 million. Like, I want to do that again. Like, that's the rush. That's the high. I mean, I know in the back of my head that it's helping the business, but that's not the rush. The rush is like creating something that resonates with people. That's why this is so cool, because we have a good core of people who what we do is resonating with, and like that's really cool. Again, something I thought I'd never ever do.
Yeah.
Steve calls Vice President dibs when Shifting Lanes gets big.
Deal.
Well, might have
VP of moderation on everything.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with. But I mean, that's the other thing, right? Like, not today, not tomorrow, not next year, not the year after, or whatever. But like, I see these big channels, and like, they're employing a friend to be a mechanic to work on their cars. Like, Deliges or Not Exotics has Mike Essa to build them shit. I'm not saying I want someone like that, but I just always thought it would be cool to create a business and then be able to give back to, say, like a friend. Say, hey man, look, my business is cars. I don't have time, or like I don't enjoy it or whatever. Like, hey man, let's start with, here's my 3 cars, wash them once a week, and here's some money for it. To help out a friend financially or something, like give a friend a job or something like that. It's like something that has like always been like, because like I know if I'm good financially if I can say, okay, I'm gonna give someone $50 an hour to wash my 3 to 4 cars every week, or whatever, and like it's, I don't know. That's stuff that like when we start to grow. Like, we've had significant growth periods throughout. Like, the Instagram growth is one. Facebook was kind of our first one. Then the YouTube channel started to go. Like, each one of those things has seen, like, us, like, oh, maybe we could do something with this, or maybe we could, like that. So, the short version is, Doug calls dibs on VP of memes. Look, let me put it to you this way. If we get to a point where I could just sit here and say, hey, Steve, I need you to just watch all of our comments Watch all the groups and stuff. Here's X amount of money a week to do it. Doug, hey,
Yeah,
find us funny
done.
shit and post it, and I pay you X amount. Like, we joke, but to me, that's a goal. Like,
Yeah, I
a goal
agree.
to give back, and not just the sense of talk. Like, I love the fact that I can give back and talk to you guys. Like, that's a really cool thing for me.
Yeah.
I'd love to take it to the next step, and the guys who are OGs be able to sit here and say, "Hey, look, we have a position open. Here's what it is. Here's what we're willing to pay for it. You guys have first crack at it."
Yep. I agree. That's a cool goal to have in the next 2 years.
But so a long-winded way of saying thank you so much, guys, for watching. Not just tonight, not just the live streams, but for watching everything. Next time you see a cool piece of Shifting Lanes content, smash the share button if you want. It helps us out more than you'll ever know. But for tonight,
Yep.
guys, I am smoked.
Not literally, just exhausted.
I mean, I'm exhausted and like my sinus is going absolutely insane. Like you probably see
Yeah,
me
all good.
scratching my eyes, and I know the tone of my voice has changed.
Yeah, we're gonna get you some antihistamine and put you to bed.
Gonna have to put you down. But again, guys, thank you for watching tonight. Thank you for commenting. Thank you to everyone who just dropped some stars. As always, I've been Chad. That's Greg, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
Anthony, just back in time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I saw that.
Alrighty.